Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this Mull Valley Chamber virtual coffee event, Restart Your Business, with skills, training and apprenticeships to support your post-COVID recovery plan. And now it's over to Stefanie Burlison from Nescot to lead off with your presentation. And if everyone else make sure they're mute, that would be great. Over to you, Stefanie.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Let me just should be able to see the presentation now, I hope. Thank you, Jeremy, first of all, for the opportunity to present to the Mull Valley Chamber members. It's lovely to meet you all. And hopefully we can show you some new options and ways of considering how skills and training and apprenticeships can support recoveries of your businesses. I will be joined today by two of my lovely colleagues, Lunn and Jackie Adams, who will talk to you about their respective areas of expertise. But I just wanted to start by sharing a little bit or talking about how colleges fit in with the economic recovery. The AOC, which is the Association of Colleges, have put together a plan for a skills-led recovery. As we all know, COVID has been the biggest shock to our economy. We have 9 million people currently on furlough, with the scheme winding down at the end of October. We know that in a recession, young people and adults with low qualifications suffer the worst because they tend to be employed in the industries that are most impacted by this crisis: retail, hospitality and leisure. So the Association of Colleges have put together a plan to rebuild the labour market and the economy, and really focusing on retaining, relaunching and retraining. So retaining young people in education, relaunching careers and skills, and retraining for people who need to look at alternative options. So colleges are really a vital supply chain for our next nursing professionals, our designers, digital experts, construction engineers, and so much more. So colleges provide, our role really is in this crisis to offer and provide hope, motivation, and ultimately pathways to jobs. And now we can't do this alone. We rely on a wide network of stakeholders, such as yourselves, employers, students, parents, local authorities, schools, universities, you name it. We need everyone to rally together and support the rebuild effort. Right, let me tell you a little bit about the college. So Nescot College, Northeast Surrey College of Technology, we're based in Epsom, Ewell. I'm not sure if anyone has been to the college before. You've probably driven past it or seen it from the train lines. Ewell East train station is at our back door. Ewell West train station and Epsom are short walk away from the college. We have superb transport, connectivity via the M25, half an hour from central London. Epsom College has a national reputation in higher education for our science facilities, in particular biomedical science links. We've recently invested £50 million into our estate. We have a huge campus, and all in all, full-time students, part-time distance learners. We have roughly around 10,000 students on the books, with fantastic facilities across the campus. We have a nursery on site, an outstanding nursery that we're looking to expand. That's available to our students, to our staff, and anyone in the local area, local businesses. We have an osteopathy clinic on site where we deliver osteopathy degrees. We have 2 theatres, an entire farm where we teach animal care curriculum, a commercial hair salon. So if you're looking for a new hairdresser, come and take a look at Nescot College. It's open to the public. It's fabulous. We have recording studios, meeting rooms, lots of facilities that are open to the public. The campus is often used for filming. Yeah, for example, actually, I've picked out some lots of interesting facts I find. The college has been around since 1953, and rumor has it that the likes of Queen, the Beatles, Genesis, and Black Sabbath used to gig here in the 60s and 70s. Also in 1977, The Revenge of the Pink Panther was filmed here. And some famous former students, naturalist David Bellamy used to be a student here. And more recently, the nation's favorite PE teacher, our very own Joe Wicks, who adorns this year's brochures, has been a student at the college and has nothing but praise for Nescot. So as you can see, we deliver not only full-time courses for school leavers, but we're really a college for anyone of any age. Part-time courses, higher education. We work closely with Kingston and Greenwich universities who validate some of our degrees. And more recently, and accelerated by COVID, our blended learning and online remote delivery has really taken off. I will talk to you a little bit about our distance learning provision in a while, but we are now, actually, it feels eerily quiet this week when we usually have hundreds of students queuing up to enroll. Our enrollment has been taken online this year for the first time. So it's really fabulous to see how the college has adapted to the crisis. Our students have been able to continue with their learning throughout COVID, and college has invested in the latest technologies to enable this. Which brings me on to our brand new product called Rebuild with Nescot. Now, the COVID crisis has impacted everyone in the country, and we got together a couple of months ago, also in line with what the Association of Colleges is putting together to rebuild the economy. We really wanted to be able to offer something to anyone who's been impacted by COVID, whether people have been made redundant or organizations looking to put together redundancy packages and options for those employees that they sadly can't retain through crisis, whether people are looking for a different direction, are looking to work for themselves, or maybe brush up on some rusty old skills to be able to quickly help them get back on their feet, maybe work for themselves, or also to support people who have been long-term employees and haven't really entered the labor market or the job market in a very long time and need some extra help in just gaining confidence and a helping hand in employability skills. We're keen to help people who are in between jobs, who have to bridge a gap and want to do some relevant learning while they're waiting for the next career move. So this Rebuild Your Future with Nescot program is new. It's in addition to our very extensive offering that we have already put in place, complementary to our curriculum, and it's evolving. Jeremy, you've seen this a few weeks ago, and it's definitely evolved from there already. So we are across all our faculty areas looking at courses, units that we can repackage as short, snappy delivery models that anyone who's been impacted by this crisis can do. And this is a mix of both online courses or on-site courses where you need the equipment or facilities. So some of the courses, to give you an example, we've broadly split this up into three main areas, although there are some overlaps. Startups, so for people who are looking to start their own businesses, our startup package includes business, digital marketing, enterprise skills, customer service, website design, and digital skills. The health and well-being section, again, is quite broad and covers areas such as mental health, first aid certificates, quite timely in the time in COVID. We offer a qualification on the principles and prevention and control of infection, safe handling of medicine, understanding mental health, and also some really hands-on refresher courses. We have a large hair and beauty department and have put together short refresher courses for example, cutting skills for hairdressers or refresher beauty skills, really aiming at people who may have been working in those industries and gone on to something else and are looking to now start their own businesses again, work for themselves, just need that extra support and confidence maybe to be able to start their journeys. New skills is really aimed at people who are looking for something completely different and want to tap into something new. For example, customer service, hospitality skills, as well as management, logistics, bookkeeping and accounting, walking through a tax return. Those are really very broad skills that will either arm you with something to talk about in a job interview, or boost your mental health and well-being by just learning something new that you can put to use straight away. Our new skills also cover construction. So these are some on-site refresher courses, 5-day short courses in electrical, gas engineering, plastering, brickwork, building maintenance. Again, looking to help people start working for themselves or giving them the skills they need to find employment. So whether this might be something for yourselves, for employees, or friends and family, because I think we all know people who are really struggling at the moment. Take a look and please share your feedback with us. Let us know what else you would like to see in this offering. And we're very happy to hear from industry. We're always keen to provide relevant courses and qualifications that work for our local economy. And so this leads me on to our well-established distance learning faculty. So if you don't quite find the right thing for you in Rebuild with Nescot, take a look at Nescot's distance learning. So all these courses are entirely online, aimed at adult learners, anyone who's got a busy life, wants to gain some new qualifications that fit around whatever you're busy doing on a day-to-day basis. Many of these courses up to level 2, which is equivalent to a GCSE qualification, are fully funded by the government, completely free to the learner, subject to eligibility criteria. All these courses are delivered with full tutor support, and you also get access to all the college facilities and learning resources by enrolling onto one of these courses. So it's well worth taking a look. Again, this area, we can be very flexible in our course design. If there's something that you think is missing, or some skills that you think we really need to kickstart our local economy, please let us know, and we'll always happily look into new content that we can provide that's relevant to our local employers and learners. Right, this brings me to apprenticeships. I think you've all heard a lot about apprenticeships and the support the government is putting behind apprenticeships yet again. And I'm just going to do a quick introductory slide, and then I'll hand over to my colleague Sam, who's our quality and compliance manager for apprenticeships and fountain of all knowledge when it comes to things like funding and tricky questions. And by the way, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat or interrupt me, and we're happy to answer any questions that you may have. Apprenticeships. This is really, I think, bear that in mind when you do your plan for your business recoveries. Think about how you're going to grow your talent for your businesses, how you will develop a motivated, skilled and qualified workforce going forward. So we find that especially young apprentices who come to the college are highly motivated. Those are people who want to work and enter the workplace, and they have to be quite, they're self-starters, and they manage their time well because they have to juggle working in an organization and doing their coursework at the college. So we find that our apprenticeships are adding a lot of value to employers. And overall, nationally, 90% of all apprentices stay on after the completion of their training. That's not always a given. It's down to the employer to decide whether or not they want to offer permanent employment to an apprentice. Again, something to think about and consider in your business recovery plans. If you take on an apprentice, there's an expectation that you will coach and support and mentor the apprentice throughout their learning. But whether or not you will be taking them on as a full-time employee after completion is completely up to you. The government offers a lot of additional help and new incentives and old incentives, which Sam will talk about in a second. There are I just had a quick look at the standards, currently over 550 different apprenticeship standards available, covering all industries and all levels. So where Nescot may not be able to offer the apprenticeship that you need for your business, but have a look at the apprenticeships.gov.uk pages. They're really useful. They point you in the right direction and help find the right training provider for you. And if you are unsure about the process and navigating the apprenticeship journey, how to become an apprentice employer, come and talk to your local training provider. Talk to us at the college. We offer free advice. We walk employers through the entire process. We help from recruitment. We offer free recruitment for apprenticeships to getting you all set up and contracted, and then provide ongoing support throughout the apprenticeship. It's really a three-way partnership between the employer, the training provider, and the apprentice. And we have, being a college, so the difference from maybe a private training provider is that we have a huge infrastructure in way of the campus and college and reporting and escalation protocols, really all geared to ensuring a successful outcome for everyone involved. So if you have any queries or just want to chat through whether an apprenticeship is right for your business, please get in touch. I'll be happy to chat to you. And without further ado, I'll hand over to Sam. You can hear from someone else about apprenticeships at Nescot. Thank you, Sam.
Okay, hello everybody. Thank you for inviting us along today. So my role within the college is sort of quality and compliance for the apprenticeships, to make sure that the delivery is meeting the needs of both the employer and the apprentice. And that, so we sort of try and evolve our curriculum around the needs of the apprentice and the employer, and that so that both get a good service, and at the end of the day you end up with a good employee that's developed all the skills, knowledge and behaviours that you require from that employee for that job role. All of our apprentices and that start off with an initial assessment to assess their needs, to check if they have any additional learning needs or need support throughout there. So obviously at the college, we've got brilliant facilities for learning support. We've got the LRC and plenty of resources to support them throughout their course. Every apprentice is monitored. So every apprentice will have a regular review with their assessor or trainer, and that what's carried out with both the employer representative from Nescot and the apprentice, so that everyone understands exactly where that apprentice is, what they need to do next, and how they've got to get to what they need to achieve. And so it's try and keep everything very transparent, very open to the employer. It's really important that the employers are really involved in that process. So as Stefanie mentioned earlier, during COVID, we've brought in and got used to using a lot of technology, and that didn't always get used before, and so we've had to hit the ground running. And part of that is that every apprentice has an electronic portfolio that the employer can also have read-only access to, so they can track and monitor where their apprentice is at and what they're doing, what they need to do, and how they can support them. Apprenticeships, to me, it's very much my passion. I love bringing people in, seeing them develop and seeing them go out and being professional in their chosen careers. And so it's bringing in new skills to our relevant sectors that we need. So I can't stress enough about, if you have the opportunity to have an apprentice within your business, how valuable that person can be and how you are to give them the opportunity. Let's go on to the next slide. Okay, so to encourage employers, because obviously apprentices have taken a bit of a hit with COVID, a lot of employers are a little bit wary, sort of, do they take on an apprentice or don't they? To try and get us through the next period, and that to bring on new apprentices, and that the government have provided an incentive payment from the first that will be paid from taking on an apprentice from the 1st of August to the 31st of January for any new apprentice that's been brought into your business, and that, or for an employee that's only been with your employment for 6 months, under 6 months. So for any apprentice that's aged 16 to 24, the additional payment, incentive payment, would be £2,000. For apprentices aged 16 to 18, there is an additional £1,000 payment that gets paid as an incentive payment as well. So the whole total incentive would be £3,000 if you're taking on a 16 to 18-year-old. For apprentices aged 25 or over, if you're taking on somebody older, remembering that apprentices are all ages, there is no higher age limit for an apprentice. And then the government are paying £1,500, and say between August and the 31st of January. To be able to get the payment, the additional payment, you would need to register on the government digital account. Okay, so with that, if any large employers that pay into the apprenticeship levy would already be on the digital account. From April next year, every employer that's taking on an apprentice will need to be registered on the digital account to get their funding for that apprentice. So they put this incentive in, but asking the employers that would like to get the additional payment need to register onto the digital account. What the business centre can support you with how to do that and send you the information on how to get registered. Okay, I think moving on.
Thank you so much, Sam. We now have Jackie Adams, who delivers some of our leadership and management apprenticeships. I thought these may be quite interesting and relevant as one apprenticeship area to pick on to talk about in a little bit more detail. So I'll hand over to Jackie, please.
Thanks, Stefanie. So as Stefanie said, I deliver the leadership and management apprentice programs, and there's two levels for these, and these are for people within organisations. The two levels, one of them is, the first level is kind of level 3, which is about supervisor, team leader, and that tends to be people in their first leadership or their first supervisory role, really. When they maybe just are managing one person or a couple of people. And then level 5 is the operations department manager level, which is people that have maybe been managers for a while but have never had any kind of formal training. And the way the programme works is that it's set up for distance learning. So the learners have some work that they have to do. Can we go back to, that's it, thank you. So they have some learning that they have to do, and then monthly we get together at Nescot to do workshops. And the purpose of those workshops really are to delve into the aspects of learning from the previous month's assignment, and to bring it alive by looking at how it can actually, how it's relevant to their roles with their employers. The purpose of it really is not just to kind of learn, but actually to put it into practice as well. So a recent example is that we were doing some work in the operational management module, and we were looking at change management, different aspects of change management. And so they'd learned all the theories, and what we did was we actually got them together and asked them which of the change management modules they had used during the COVID crisis. So they'd all been experienced change, but actually to what extent had they looked at that module? And most of them had come up with some good examples of actually where they'd been able to use it. So it's really about bringing to life the theory, and it also gives them an opportunity to mix with people from other organisations as well. The apprentice we've got the monthly workshops, and they have monthly one-to-ones with their tutors as well, and that's to help them develop their learning, help them with their project. So level 5 have a project as well, and they have to show continuous professional development. So they have to be able to show at the end of their apprentice programme that they've had enough continuous professional development, and that can be anything that they're learning. So it's not just their time at college, it's anything that they do on the job as well. So the programme, as Sam mentioned earlier, looks at knowledge, skills and behaviours. And so the knowledge is kind of the stuff you've got to learn, and that's the easy bit. You read, you understand about, things and stuff. And then they have to demonstrate how they put it into in their roles, and actually that's kind of where the tutor kind of can add value in order to help them look at how they can put that into practice. So the topics on the programme include leading and managing people, problem solving, decision making, project management, communication, so that the whole sort of tranche of how you lead and manage people. And as I said, the level 5 also has a project whereby they have to look at something that they're doing within their work, and with their managers' engagement in that, they have to agree with a project that they have to be able to demonstrate areas of the curriculum. Within the cohorts that I currently have, we've got a range of people from different organisations, again a range of ages and roles. We were talking earlier about there's no maximum age that someone on the apprentice programme could be. I've got people that have been managing for donkey's years but have never really had any formal management training. So actually they've seen a lot of stuff, but they haven't really understood how they can improve and be more effective managers. Okay, I think that's it. Thank you, Stefanie.
Thank you very much, Jackie. Yeah, I think we're nearly at the end. I just thought to recap and wrap up on what hopefully you can take out, the 12th session of restarting your business. Have a think about your skills landscape. What I mean by that is, are the skills that you or your business had needed prior to COVID-19, have those changed, or have you come out, at the other end of the summer, realizing that you need different skills or new and additional skills for yourselves and for your businesses to succeed? Have a think about utilizing the funding as well as the incentives that have been made available by the government. Really use your local resources, and I always think Nescot is such a fabulous local resource for employers to use, and you may not be aware, so please come and ask. We can help you navigate through all these processes and areas. Develop talent and train up your future employees. Really have a think about, could you offer an apprenticeship vacancy? Also, if you're not sure, you may want to start dipping your toe in offering work experience to students. Is another way to just have a little try and see whether a young person would fit in with your business objectives. That could be leading on to another opportunity, such as an apprenticeship, for example. Upskilling existing employees. Again, this ties back in with the skill set you now need may have changed. So really have to think about whether your existing employees need to learn something new. And can't stress enough, well-being, mental health has taken a huge knock throughout the last few months. Learning a new skill boosts your people's well-being. So whether that's for yourself or just enabling your employees, giving them the headspace and time to do a course, whether that's something that's relevant in terms of a skill for your business, or just a new skill that will, we offer, for example, courses in nutrition and well-being. That's something anyone, I'm sure, can enjoy doing. And yeah, just sort of incentivizing your employees by giving them access to learning, I think it's a nice thing to do, and it doesn't have to cost you anything. And I've seen there are a few questions in the chat, and we will answer them. I tried to respond, which is when the slides went all funny, so I haven't touched my keyboard, and I will answer your questions. But here's the email address for you to get in touch with us to discuss any business training needs. We can also talk about bespoke packages. We're happy to come into organizations and deliver on site if that's what you'd like. So we're really flexible, and as I said before, we want to be able to deliver the skills, training, and opportunities that are right for our local economy and employers and businesses. So thank you so much for your time this morning and allowing us to talk to you. I hope you found it useful and took a few things from this presentation. Thank you again, Jeremy.
Thank you very much, Stefanie. If you'd like to stop sharing your screen now, we'll move into Q&A. There we are. Right, so who'd like to ask the first question? Eloise, please unmute yourself.
Yeah, I did just type something in the textbook. There might be one that I need a conversation or something. We're very keen to reach out and employ an apprentice. I don't think we've done it before at the Grange, and we're trying all different ways of getting people into the care sector at large, but the jobs don't have to be in care. We're a regular business. We do marketing, we do accounts, we do hospitality, we do all kinds of stuff. And my trouble is that we could probably make use of another talented, bright person in any area of our business. And every time I go into apprenticeships, I end up not doing anything about it because I don't want to write 15 different job descriptions for possible apprentices at all different levels in all different. What I kind of want is to know who's out there or what the demand is, and then to shape something that's really going to work for us and for that person. Because my experience doing things like Jobs for the Future or whatever it was years ago with government was that, you know, it was actually quite hard to fill our roles, but there were a lot of young people out there looking for things. I don't know if you've got any way of steering us down a track. I had a really hopeless conversation with one of the guys from the National Apprenticeships Office looking to re-provide for people who've been apprentices who've been made redundant recently, and he kept saying, well, where's your job description? Where's your job description? I'm like, well, it takes a while for us to do that stuff. What's your advice? Sorry, long talk.
Right, okay. So obviously with the apprenticeship, we can support you with putting the job description together, but it would be specifically to what area you would like to have an apprentice in. So it'd be sort of seeing where that apprentice would fit best in your company. And that, because obviously really what I'm asking is, are you, so for example, the training side that you're offering, do you have a particular demand in a particular area at the moment, or are there any trends? Because there's no point me writing an apprenticeship around, I don't know, cleaning grounds maintenance if actually everyone wants to do digital marketing at the moment. You see what I mean? I can make equally good use of either of those people.
Yeah, if I can just step in there as well. I think if you one of the more popular business apprenticeships, that's also, I think, the most flexible and fits into any organization, is the business administration apprenticeship. So that's something that we can support you with. We've also got draft job descriptions, so we can help you just fill in the gaps, because a job description is required. We have to publish any vacancies on the National Apprenticeship website, so has to meet certain parameters, but we can certainly help you complete that. And also, we are a big part of what we do is the apprenticeship recruitment. So we screen and recruit the candidates, and we work with employers when we have great talent coming through the door. We'll send CVs over to you and enable you to interview candidates that we are confident will be able to get through an apprenticeship, or we build relationships with employers. We get a feel for what you're looking for, so hopefully we can send the right people down to you to interview. And depending on the candidate and their ambitions, you may want to accommodate the type of apprenticeship the candidate is hoping to complete. So yeah, digital marketing is absolutely popular, but I think business admin is a great starting point for apprenticeships. I think that's the first one if you wanted to go down there.
Thank you. Thanks.
Would you like to ask a question?
Yeah, if I could please. Yeah, just picking up on Eloise's point there about job description and the right people. It's interesting to see the curriculum that you've got for apprentices, etc. What is, I guess, really from anybody's point of view, what's the sweet topics at the moment? I mean, because obviously as a nation we've come away from manufacturing in a large degree and become all a bit white collar in as much as the service industries, etc. So are you getting people coming in for like the bricklaying, the motor vehicle, the more manual type stuff, or are you getting people that are coming in for the more I guess office-based administration and digital type stuff?
Mm-hmm. Sorry, Sam, do you want to go first?
It's up to you. It's all right, you go.
Yeah, it's a really interesting question, Gary, and I think it's we find whenever we look at our applications and numbers at the moment that it's an unusual picture and an unusual year. Typically, traditionally, the college's bread and butter are the construction apprenticeships, and that's still very, thankfully, is bouncing back now. So our usual oversubscribed courses are filling up nicely. So you're looking at electrical, plumbing, the typical old-fashioned apprenticeships are still doing very well. We've definitely taken a hit, and we are considering changing the start dates of some of our apprenticeships because employers have not been confident in offering new positions. and that we're slowly starting to see things picking up again. However, not to the extent that we need to make some of our courses viable. As you can imagine, we still need to fill a classroom in order to run an apprenticeship, or make it worthwhile to employ the teaching and assessment staff. We want as broad a curriculum as possible, or a portfolio. We really need the employer support and the numbers to make it viable. So we are now seeing business confidence starting to return. I think we definitely want to push our business and office-based managerial apprenticeships, because I think they are the most versatile and can be slotted into any organization or any head office structure. But yeah, it's still a mix of sort of the hands-on construction trade courses, as well as the digital design. We've also got some specialist courses where we used to offer mammography apprenticeships, for example, so tapping into the science areas where there are just skills shortages and an opportunity to fill this through the route of an apprenticeship, and also enabling large organizations such as the NHS, for example, to spend their levy money. They've got a lot of funds mostly sitting unused, taken out of their taxes. So we are trying to mold our curriculum into those areas where we see a big demand and skills shortages. But we really rely on hearing from employers as to what courses you need. So yeah, it's an interesting picture at the moment, and we definitely need some areas to pick up. Motor vehicle, you mentioned earlier, is usually a really popular course, and we always have apprentices. We have a fantastic motor vehicle center for training. But because of social distancing at the moment, you can't have two people under a bonnet together. So unfortunately, our very loyal partner employers haven't been able to offer any apprenticeships at the moment. So that's definitely one area we are looking to defer and hopefully resurrect when, as the rules may change, or hopefully we get out the other side of this. So yeah, it's a changing picture at the moment.
Who's next? In that case, I'll ask you one, Stefanie. As I understand it, in terms, for example, of accountancy, apprenticeships are now available to take people to some of the AAT qualifications, which they need to pass before being able to go on to a sort of fully qualified course. Is that the case locally? Do you provide those?
Sam, would you like to go into?
Yeah, there are accountancy apprenticeships. At the moment, it's not one that we offer at Nescot, but if demand is there, it's something that obviously we'd look into doing. To be honest, I'm not over familiar with the standards of what they achieve, but I do know that with the accountancy standards, it does take them up to sort of chartered accountancy levels.
Sam, if I may, I had a look at the Rebuild with Nescot website whilst you guys were speaking, and I think you offer level 2, 3 and 4 AAT, but not necessarily via an apprenticeship.
Yeah, no,
you can do it via.
We do the courses, but not,
yes.
Not
so I think to fully answer Jeremy's question, if there were accountancy businesses or businesses looking to participate, put their staff through AAT levels, Nescot provide a mixture of online and what do you call it? Contact learning for levels 2, 3 and 4. Level 2 is free. Level 3 and 4, there's a fee, there's charges, costs.
Thank you.
Jumping in there, we have apprentices and we send them up to Hammersmith on day release. and you can do AAT. And in fact, we've then re-apprenticed some of our team who got their AAT to go on for their ACCA. And strangely enough, at the moment, we're in negotiations, because I'm one of the apprentice ambassadors for Surrey. We're in negotiations to actually have one of our qualified people do an apprenticeship to enable him to become an auditor. Having done auditing for many, many years, it's something I stepped away from. But one of my junior partners wants us to become an audit company. So we're negotiating to have him trained to get a full audit practice certificate. So it just shows how high up you can go. Apprenticeships not just for the youngsters leaving school. Wearing my the ambassador's hat, we want to try and get many, many tens of thousands of youngsters who are coming out of school, college and university into some form of employment. One of our apprentices has a degree in accounting, but again, suddenly discovered that the market has dried up. So I think if people put a little bit of creativity, there are lots of opportunities, and I'm sure the colleges will bend over backwards to help us to get these youngsters through training and into full-time employment, earning money for the firms they're working for.
That's a great contribution, Derek, and Martin also. Thank you for that. Julie, have you got any experience of this in the legal profession at all?
We did dip our toe in the water a few years ago, and we did take on an apprentice. Sadly, it didn't work out too well. The main thing was issues over timekeeping. He couldn't get in before 10 o'clock in the morning, and as we were, one of the things we were seeking from having an apprentice was to support our office manager by doing all the routine opening up and so on, getting the office ready. It didn't work, and we tried and we tried, but he just wasn't, you know, he just couldn't overcome that that problem. Plus he had, you know, he was young, he had quite a journey. We also found that we were perhaps expecting rather a lot, but yeah, in a law firm, attention to detail is all, and he just didn't have it. And it was just, we just felt it was too risky to continue. So failure isn't failure unless you learn from it. Don't learn from it. I'm not shutting the door, but I think we would be much more careful and considered about bringing youngsters into our business if we were to go down that route again.
If I may say something off the subject, I suppose, but relevant to what you've just said, Julie, there are sort of psychometric assessments that could be undertaken to actually help you identify up front, for example, attention to detail. So, you know, if you were ever thinking of having another go, get in touch, because I could sort something out for you that that would help to, let's say you had 3 people and you weren't sure which one was going to have that particular quality. I can help you with that pre making a final decision. So I'm not trying to sort of advertise here, but just so that you know, I do have that capability, and I'm sure other HR people around the table might also have qualifications in those sorts of things. But
yeah, thank you for the offer. I think that's a constructive comment. We've got 6 solicitors in our business and 3 support staff. All of our staff are educated to degree level, and I think we completely underestimated the significance of that, and how different it would be for someone who hasn't been educated to degree level. We were very, very committed to the concept, really wanted to give this young lad a chance. but it was too risky in the end. After about, I think we gave it about 3 months.
Julie,
And
they
just
don't
add
have
that as well.
apprentices, although their people sort of see them as purely for young people. They don't necessarily have to be 16 to 18-year-olds. It could be somebody that's already studied for a degree and then decided that they want to go into law. So that might be the sort of market that you would advertise for. So somebody that's already qualified to that level, they can still do an apprenticeship as long as it's not equivalent to the degree that they've already got.
Thank you. Yes, yes, I had noted down, yes, that it could be somebody over the age of 25, that's not, age isn't a bar to taking an apprenticeship. I had actually written that down. Thank you.
And just to add to that as well, so again, how the college might be able to support a situation like that, because these things happen. It doesn't always work to plan, and where a employer and employee relationship doesn't work out for whatever reason, the college is still there to try and pick things up. So where we have apprentices who lose an employer because this happens quite a lot in construction, where the work isn't there anymore and the apprentice cannot be kept on for whatever reason. The college will then step in and try and replace, find a new employer to enable the apprentice to continue with their learning. But on the other hand, we also support the employer. So if for whatever reason the candidate isn't what we were all hoping them to be, we will step in and through our talent database and hopefully be able to replace that person and find the right fit for the employer. So that's a little bit of a safety net there when things don't go to plan.
Do we have any more questions for Stefanie, Sam, or indeed Jackie?
Yeah, can I just chuck another one in, please? In terms of, obviously, there is a common viewpoint that apprentices are kind of in that younger age group. I do think that some of the large companies which have put people through apprenticeships which are older does a good job to demonstrate that the apprenticeship is not just confined to age. But one of my experiences has been that even when you take on, say, and this references more the younger element of apprentices that are 16 upwards, that people quite often will pay them the prescribed government pay rates, which is quite low. And of course, the competition might then be maybe a convenience store, supermarkets, or etc., which will pay straight away far more than they could earn on an apprenticeship without the requirements of having to learn and also conform to the company requirements, etc. So, is there, I guess, really for the people in the virtual room, is there a view that you would actually pay an apprentice more than the advisory amount that they might be on for the government pay rates?
Most of our employers do top up and don't pay the minimum apprenticeship wage. Obviously, some employers, some sectors are sort of a bit more renowned for paying the minimum than others, but most probably 85% of our employers pay a lot higher than the apprenticeship minimal wage.
Certainly,
you are not aware, the minimum wage for apprentices currently is £4.15 per hour. So where employers offer just that, we often struggle to find the right candidates or find talented candidates. I think I always advise employers to look at what you would pay a full-time employee in a similar role and take that as a benchmark for the role, because also if you look at all the different levels, you have entry-level positions, but obviously apprenticeships up to much higher levels. So I think you have to pay a fair wage if you expect certain talent to come through the door.
and certainly my experience, Gary, is that I've seen employers pay entry level type salaries for somebody that is brand new but on an apprentice scheme, as opposed to £4.50 an hour, which, as you say, is not very much.
think the point is that there's supply and demand in the market for labour at whatever level you're looking to. So I think it was Gary's point that a sandwich maker might be on minimum wage, and that would be perhaps double what the standard apprentice rate would be. So if you want the right people to take your programme, then the true market rate is much more appropriate. Any more questions before we draw to a halt? Okay, in that case, Stefanie, Sam and Jackie, thank you very much for your presentation today and for answering the various questions that came forward. I think you've certainly shown us that apprenticeships can work throughout people's working lives, which was one of the points that I feel is made too seldom. And no doubt with your work in looking at the programmes already offered by Nescot, which could be tuned to later in life apprenticeships, we'll see some of those increasing also. So thank you all very much for attending today. A quick plug, next week's virtual coffee will be Derek Williamson. He's going to talk on the subtopic of don't splash the cash. This of course reflects that for most businesses cash is king, and we all need to look at how we do business in order to make sure we don't run out of the jolly stuff. On the same day, for those of a quizzical nature, we have our not pub quiz, which in fact Bob Knight is presenting on, as he's one of our previous quiz winners. So that's the usual 2 events on the first Wednesday, and on the following Wednesday we have Claire Batchelor coming back to us with another batch of quick wins with Microsoft Office, and I'm expecting some more details from her which we can share with everyone so that you know what this is going to be aimed at this time round. But we had really great response to her previous session with people asking for more, so here it is, coming up not next week but the week after. So thank you all very much for coming today. I hope that whatever you're doing for the rest of the day goes well, and I look forward to seeing you all soon. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Bye.